In late autumn 2025, two events shattered American law and order. President Trump declared Latin American cartels unlawful combatants, authorizing direct military action. U.S. military strikes on drug vessels followed, signaling a new aggressive war on drugs. But as the nation focused on this bold move, a quieter crisis erupted in Minneapolis. Operation Northern Razor targeted not distant cartels, but corruption within the city's own institutions. Federal agents uncovered a network that let a cartel thrive inside the corridors of power. The first raid wasn't on a criminal hideout, but the office of a respected public figure. Arrests soon implicated police, bankers, and officials who had betrayed their oaths. The war on drugs had come home, and the enemy was wearing a badge and a judge's robe. At the heart of the scandal was Judge Layla Mahad, a celebrated Somali-American jurist. Her public image was flawless, but she was the mastermind behind a vast criminal operation for the CJNG cartel. Years of investigation revealed Mahad as the architect, not a pawn. She laundered over $61 million and facilitated $118 million in suspicious transfers through 29 shell companies across the U.S. and offshore. These companies were expertly disguised, making detection nearly impossible. Encrypted messages showed her direct involvement in cartel logistics, routes, codes, and law enforcement schedules. Mahad was the cartel's chief operator in the Midwest, providing legal cover and intelligence. The judge who dispensed justice was, in truth, the state's most significant criminal. Before dawn, Operation Northern Razor launched with military precision. Over 100 law enforcement units struck targets across Minnesota, aiming to dismantle the network in one blow. The main target, Judge Mahad's downtown office, where agents found $81 million in cash, cocaine, firearms, and a phone full of cartel messages. Simultaneous raids hit warehouses, clinics, and homes of corrupt officials. A converted church served as a secret meeting and cash handoff site. The operation seized 240 kilograms of narcotics and $154.9 million in assets. 137 people were charged, including police and bankers. The scale of corruption stunned the public. Law enforcement's victory revealed a rot deeper than anyone imagined. Judge Mahad's success depended on a web of corruption inside Minnesota's institutions. She recruited high-ranking police, bank directors, and officials, turning them into cartel accomplices. A police captain received $32,000 monthly for inside information. A chief allowed cartel cargo to bypass screening. Bank directors approved massive wire transfers, laundering millions for the cartel. Bribes were disguised as donations or routine paperwork, making the corruption nearly invisible. The system itself was weaponized. Permits, signatures, and delays all served the cartel. The betrayal was profound. The very mechanisms meant to protect the public had been twisted into tools for crime. The network thrived by manipulating bureaucracy, not just by paying bribes. Minnesota's institutions had become the cartel's shield. The cartel's reach devastated Minnesota communities. Corrupt officials enabled a flood of narcotics, fueling a deadly overdose crisis. At least 9 deaths traced to their fentanyl. Mahad's network smuggled in over 580 Somali nationals, many with violent backgrounds, to serve as cartel enforcers. In 16 months, this group was linked to dozens of shootings, robberies, and forced prostitution cases. Medicaid fraud funded the violence, with $1.7 million stolen to armed criminals and expand operations. Every part of the scheme fed another. Drugs, violence, and fraud formed a cycle of destruction. Ordinary people paid the price, their neighborhoods and public funds under siege. As Operation Northern Razor's details emerged, Minnesota was gripped by disbelief and anger. The exposure of a judge and dozens of officials as cartel agents shattered public trust. Protests erupted, and the sense of betrayal was especially deep in communities that once celebrated Judge Mahad. Trust in police, judges, and city officials evaporated overnight. City council resignations and bank closures followed, paralyzing local governance. Essential services stalled as employees were suspended and leadership collapsed. For many, the worst wound was the loss of faith in the system itself. The feeling that justice was for sale bred cynicism and helplessness. The damage to the civic soul would outlast the financial and social costs. Amid the scandal's darkness, hope emerged from ordinary citizens and principled officials. The investigation began with everyday people, shop owners, bank tellers, neighbors, who reported suspicious activity. Their courage, often at personal risk, helped expose the network. While some officers betrayed their oath, many more worked tirelessly to bring justice. New leaders and grassroots groups rose to demand transparency and reform. Whistleblower protections and oversight committees were strengthened. The fight against corruption is ongoing, requiring vigilance from all. Operation Northern Razor is a warning and a reminder that justice depends on the courage of the community.